Now, if the individual gets locked in the self, if he can't see past himself, if what I call he gets locked in the self, he doesn't identify with the universe and the self and get a balance between them, but gets locked in the self and he can't see past himself, ruminating on the past, anxious dependence on the future. He gets himself a sense of entitlement, so he becomes ungrateful. He will suffer. They will suffer. And in the individual, this is called neurosis. And then, as the thinking of society is directly proportional to the thinking of the average individual, what this translates to is if the average individual suffers from neurosis, this translates to nationalism then in society, so in the state. And because of democracy, then the people get to choose their representative. So if the average individual suffers from neurosis, constantly ruminating on the self, anxious dependence on the future, only interested in themselves, me, myself, and I, this translates then to the state. So then what we would have, say, is an example. An example of this would be, say, in America, where through democracy people elected a representative of themselves, Trump. And the first thing Trump does then, they say, I'm going to make America great again. In other words, I'm only concerned about America. We can't see past ourselves. So the first thing to do is to isolate themselves from everyone else. He wants to build a wall between him and Mexico. Dropped out of collaboration with other countries regarding climate change, and started a trade war with China. So in the same fashion as the individual will suffer through the neurosis, that America will now suffer as a result of their choices and as a result of having the same attitude. For example, the first thing they did was send home all the Mexicans, and then they had nobody to pick the oranges in California, so they offered visas to people in Mongolia. Like, how stupid is that? Like, you send people back across your border, and then you offer visas to people halfway around the world to come and pick your oranges. It's the height of stupidity. And then as regards climate change, anybody with half a brain can see the suffering that's going to be caused by climate change. But they choose to disregard this because it's only short term. You can't see past it, it's short term, like instant gratification. You can only see now. Can't see the delayed consequences of their actions. They can't contemplate the delayed consequences of their actions. And then the trade war with China. China had them by the balls, because most of the material, because very high in materialism. The West is very fond of materialism, like they're very materialistic, and a lot of the materials that they love so much are manufactured in China, including the iconic Harley Davidson. The parts for the Harley Davidson are manufactured in China, so even their own iconic brands are manufactured in China. So China had them by the balls. Even though China are self-sufficient, they can see out this trade war. It won't affect them as much as it will affect America. So basically what I'm saying is, the very same as the individual will suffer, America will suffer. And then my ma always said that Britain follow America, and Ireland follow Britain. That it goes in that pattern, like sheep. That's human nature. That's human nature. Follow the crowd and step in the shite. But that has always been the trend. So Britain then come along and they do the same. As a result of democracy, the thinking of society is directly proportional to the thinking of the average individual. So they say, oh, we can't see past ourselves either. We only want to think of ourselves, ruminate on the past, anxious dependence on the future. We don't want any relations with anyone else, several relations with everybody else. We want to lick ourselves. We just want to worry about me, myself, and I. Again, nationalism. So the plebs get to vote, and they vote for Brexit to sever ties with the rest of Europe, even though it's anyone who have a brain can see it's detrimental to their economy and to their business. So the first thing they do then is once they sever this relationship, the first thing they do is to say, we only want people with certain qualifications. We don't want anyone of below a certain standard. So now every pleb in England is rubbing their hands, thinking about the pay rise they're going to get, because they will have to get a pay rise because there'll be no one to do the lower end work. So the more demand there is for people to do the lower end work, the higher the wages will have to be. Now, I'm no economist, but that's obviously going to inflate the pound, going to inflate the market, cause inflation. And then as they're going to suffer because they've pissed off half of Europe, they've pissed off the rest of Europe, so they're going to suffer when it comes to arranging trade agreements. So now the pound is going to inflate, and then like a balloon it's going to go bang. So we can all see where that's going. Well, most of us can see where that's going. And then we have Ireland. And did you ever see a ship sinking? When a ship is sinking, it creates a vacuum and brings down everything within a certain radius of it. And that's what's going to happen with England and Ireland. England is going to be a sinking ship. Well, it is a sinking ship. And Ireland are going down with it. But meanwhile in Ireland, we suffer the same because the average individual is suffering with neurosis. We can't see past ourselves either. We can only instant gratification. We're not grateful. We want. We want a house. We want lower taxes. We will be happy when we do this. So we're in the process of voting in a socialist government because they have offered to blow the budget. We can't contemplate the delayed consequences for our actions. So we only 1% of the people here in Ireland care about Brexit because we can't see the consequences of our actions. Only 1% of the people care about Brexit. So we're completely oblivious to we want to be completely oblivious to the oncoming recession. Even though there is a heavy recession coming, we want to blow the budget here because for short-term gratification. So we're going to suffer. Because one thing that has been proven throughout history is that socialism brings suffering. And that is a fact. We can look at Venezuela, we can look at Romania. Socialism brings suffering. So really what has to change, if we were to look at things, in order to bring about change, Europe's going to crash. America, the West is going to crash. So in order to bring about change, everything starts with the thinking. So what has to change is the attitude of the average individual. Everything starts with the individual because the thinking of society is directly proportional to the individual. So if we want to bring about change and we want to prevent a disaster, well, it's a little late at this stage, it's in progress. But what has to change to avoid the oncoming suffering is the thinking of the average individual, the attitude of the average individual has to change. And that's for today. Look.